Hello, Hearties, and welcome to the Hearties Hotline, your connection to Hope Valley, hosted by Caroline, myself, Cammie, and Casey. Thanks to Brian Bird for letting us use the music on our show. Now grab that paprika-filled shepherd's pie and sit back and relax. Here we go. Hello, Hearties! Welcome back. We are so excited to be with you today to talk about a very gripping episode, Season 1, Episode 3, A Telling Silence. This is another heavy one.
Oh, this, my heart.
I know.
Oh my goodness, I might need a mop.
Oh, I'm telling you. Okay, but Casey, before we do that, we do have some business to take care of first.
Oh
right?
yes, lots of good stuff coming. Lots of good things to chat about.
All right. So first and foremost, we want to give a shout out to Edify Films that gives us this wonderful merchandise. Casey's got her shirt on. I've got my hat, and you can get all kinds of stuff, mugs, Christmas ornaments, tea towels, and especially right now you can pre-order those beautiful puzzles. What a project to be able to put together the Christmas puzzle together in time for Christmas.
No kidding.
Wouldn't that be fun?
I know, like, can you imagine just like setting up the Christmas tree and being with your family, putting all the little puzzles together? So hallmarky.
I know, and I'm in my own home now, and so you're getting me all goosebumpy because I can actually do stuff like that. I think my children are a little young for a 1,000-piece puzzle, but it's a goal for future times.
Your oldest daughter might. She might give you half your money.
Yeah, no, she would do it, but Jack would pull it apart instantly.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, so probably better not. All right, so yes, thank you to Edify Films. Number 2, we have, are you ready? Drum roll, please, Casey. We have over 600 subscribers combined. Yay! So between all areas where you can listen or watch podcasts, whether it be YouTube or Spotify, iTunes, all of that, we have 600 subscribers. So thank you so much. Here is why that matters. When we get to 1,000 subscribers, we're going to have another giveaway. Do I tell them what it is?
Maybe we should wait on that one, but it's a good one, you guys.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. So yeah, we'll wait and it's a biggie.
Yes.
It's a biggie.
So tell your friends.
Tell your friends, get us up to 1,000 subscribers, and we will do that big giveaway, which is sponsored once again by Edify Films. We love you, Edify. We love you so much. To start it off, this is actually very, very profound. It's what Kat says in her Sunday school lesson, and I don't know why it never struck me like it did before. Maybe it's just because I was in different life circumstances, but listen to what she says. We've all known what it's like when it seems that our only light is the flicker of a candle in the heart of a shaft. But I believe that candle is Providence guiding us through our own darkness in these past few months.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean, that is so profound, because when we think about when calls the heart, we think about love, we think about community, we think about romance, we think about callings, but we don't think of a heart of a shaft where it's the darkest.
Right.
And I just thought, holy mackerel.
Right. And talk about foreshadowing.
it's talking about it's talking about the past
Mm-hmm.
when they're talking about the mine shaft,
Right.
but it is also big time foreshadowing. These two episodes, number 3 and number 4, oh my word, they
Mm-hmm.
are so good
They are.
at setting up and following up after each other. They one right after the other is just incredible how they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And two, another thing I just realized, because she talks about the shaft,
Yeah.
that is involved in this episode at the very end.
Yeah.
Like finding somebody who we'll get into later.
Mm-hmm.
But so much packed into that little line.
Yeah.
So much foreshadowing. It's
Well,
brilliant.
and it's the very first one in the show.
Mhm.
So go figure, right? So but yes, Kat is teaching Sunday school in the woods because there's no church and the saloon's not exactly the best place to worship God. So, Casey, what does Elizabeth call Jack?
She calls him a heathen
For
for being late to church. How dare he?
I mean, that's pretty low. I mean,
Right.
for 1910 to call somebody a heathen, I mean, it's not like she's saying it lightly, but that's a pretty low insult.
Yeah, it'd be like
Yeah.
he was probably doing his rounds, making sure everybody was okay.
Well,
Who
I mean,
knows?
he's a cop.
He's a cop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, cops have to go in and out,
Right, right. But
And
man, Elizabeth. Whew.
I know. She's rich girl reaction.
That is a rich girl reaction.
Rich girl reaction. Such a heathen. You know? then and then what does he just shoot right back at her?
And he doesn't even look at her. He just still like straight
I know,
ahead.
he's so deadpan.
And the zinger, like the zinging back and forth is amazing, but he calls her uncouth for whispering in church.
Which for a rich girl is a very low blow.
Oh,
Then we come to Kat and Spurlock. Now, we're not going to go over every single detail of the episode because that's what rewatching is for. By the way, plug in for our rewatches on Tuesdays. We're going to try to make them different nights, different times, so that our international friends can join, because 8:00 at night Central Time is not exactly a good time for our Australian friends.
right.
But we're going to be rewatching episodes. We've already started, but we're going to be doing episode rewatches every Tuesday. So join us. Anyway, so now Kat and Spurlock. This is an amazing sense of shadowing.
Oh, absolutely. And I did not pick up on it watching it through the first time.
Well, of course not, because you don't know what's going on. But then when you see it, you go back and you go,
oh.
Yeah, because
it's just I will say you still kind of get that creepy feeling.
Then we come into the trouble with Gowan and the Reverend. Okay,
I don't know how I feel about a business company supporting a church.
Well, and
funding the church,
especially a man who carries faith.
Right? I have a lot to say.
I know you have a lot to say about Gowan's lack of religion.
Yes. Well, it's very unsettling. Very unsettling.
It is. So the problem is that I do see Reverend Anderson's point of view.
Yeah.
in my faith, our local clergy is not paid. It's not their job. It's volunteer, and they have a career besides.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not used to the idea of preaching being someone's livelihood, but I've seen enough of it to
Mm-hmm.
know that, it's not easy to find a position.
Right.
And, especially way out in the uncivilized West, which it might be a little bit easier because there's so much need for it. But on the
Mm-hmm.
other hand, you got to get there. I can see why Reverend Anderson reacts the way he does, but he reacts badly.
He
And
does.
yeah,
It's like he's forgetting why he's doing his ministry.
right. Because he forgot that he was supposed to be the one to offer that comfort
Mm-hmm.
when all those men died. And apparently he did not do a very good job because they flocked to Kat's Sunday school class.
Mm-hmm.
So, if, like she said, if they need comfort, they're going to go where they get it.
Right.
So I understand why he reacts the way he does, but it's a bad reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just fixing it,
Right.
he
He's
goes after her.
and he's very proud too.
He's very proud.
Very
Yeah.
proud in that moment. I mean, because it could have been a thing where he didn't realize that he wasn't providing the comfort that the widows needed.
But he says,
But
oh,
instead,
yeah.
he just kind of brushes it aside, and it's almost like he turns it on Kat, and it's like, well, it's still your fault, that I've lost my congregation. It's just his
Yeah.
attitude is very, very, shall we say, uncouth.
We shall say uncouth. I mean, he brings her a poppy seed cake, which is nice, but then I have to wonder, did he bake that? I mean, where did he get it?
That was also odd.
Was he re-gifting? But, and just, you have a soothing touch when he asks her to play the piano. I'm just like, it's creepy.
It's a little weird. It is a little weird. Not
It
gonna lie.
is. It's very weird.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's jump to school. Elizabeth is talking about the favorite hour of the day,
Mm-hmm.
and she's trying to encourage Rosaline to write, or if she doesn't have the letters for it, to draw a picture, something, and it's just not quite working. But what I want to know is, Casey, what's your favorite hour of the day?
Oh, I tend to really like mornings because
Uh-huh.
it's nice and quiet and it's peaceful, and I have my cup of iced coffee, and it's just nothing chaotic has happened yet.
Right. So I'm most productive in the mornings.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that probably somewhere between 5:30 and 6:30, or 6 and 7 is when I'm most productive,
Mm-hmm.
before the kids get up and all of that. But my favorite hour of the day is at night, winding down, reading, writing, watching a movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite hour of the day.
Yes.
So sitting on the couch or lying in bed and just coming down from the day. That's my favorite hour. So we've got Rosaline and Molly giving Elizabeth dinner because Abigail is out of town tending to her cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Joanna's performance
Oh, it's incredible.
in this entire episode. I was blown away. And it's lessened over time, but I love her hint of an Irish accent.
I was just about to mention that. I had
Yeah.
forgotten that she had more of an Irish accent in the earlier seasons.
Yeah. I mean, it fits that she doesn't have it as much anymore because
Right.
you live somewhere long enough, you pick up the speech patterns of the
Mhm.
people that you're around. So I don't mind that she doesn't have it anymore, but I really did enjoy it. Yeah,
Mhm.
I enjoyed her little Irish lilt. So describe Joanna's performance talking to Elizabeth about Rosaline in 3 words.
Oh, in 3 words.
3 words.
Um, I would say Molly was very desperate
Okay.
and a very broken, I guess.
That's a good one.
Like you could just tell her heart was just breaking for her child.
Yeah,
And the
absolutely.
third adjective I would use is I don't that's hard. 3 words.
I
It's
know, I know.
she was also she I guess desperate. I was going to say like begging because like she's wanting that
Mhm.
she's wanting help. She's reaching out, she's crying out for help. I think that kind of encompasses desperate. Um she's also this is also the first time we've seen her open up
Yeah. So
too.
she's being
She's
very open.
vulnerable.
That's a good
Mhm.
word. That's a good word. Okay, wow, great minds think alike because two of ours are pretty much the same. Yeah, 3 words came to mind when I was watching it this time around. She is the perfect blend of love,
Mhm.
grief, and desperation.
Love, grief, and desperation. That's
Tho-
perfect.
those are the 3 that I picked
Mhm.
because she loved her husband so much. She loves her daughter
Mhm.
so much, and she is desperate to get to the bottom of this so that Rosaline will talk again.
Oh,
And she is and she's also grieving the loss of her husband, and she's grieving the loss of her daughter's voice.
yeah.
She hasn't heard her talk in 2 or 3 months now.
I mean, in a
And
sense, it's not even just the voice, it's like all of Rosaline's personality.
yeah,
It's
it's
like her
gone.
daughter's like dying.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's so sad.
oh, it
It's so
is.
sad. And she doesn't know how to fix it. And if Rosaline is withdrawing
Yeah.
day by day, and you can just tell because she's like prodding Rosaline to speak. She's trying to get her to say, at least say something.
When you say goodnight to Miss Thatcher, isn't that right, dear? Yeah.
She's
Oh.
just trying to get something, and Rosaline will not talk, and it's just so heartbreaking. And you can even see in Mamie's performance,
Oh.
she just her countenance is just so sad and deadpanned at the same time. It's
Downtrodden.
just you just feel for this little kid. And we do see, I mean, at the end we see her make that switch and we see that countenance, which is the fantastic acting on
Yeah.
Mamie's part. But at this moment, it's like, oh my word.
There is nothing childish
Mhm.
about this girl's acting.
No,
You know,
she's
I mean, a
awesome.
lot a lot of times with child actors, you have to kind of make allowances, make excuses,
Mhm.
but there is nothing childish about this child's acting.
Right.
Wow. I mean,
Fantastic.
fantastic, on par with any adult.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, it was marvelous. And so I would also add an element of childlike to Joanna's performance
Mhm.
because what should I do? She's not being a proud Irish woman
Mhm.
saying I'm gonna make her talk. She's gonna talk. She is saying, what should I do, in the most humble and childlike manner.
Mhm.
It's oh, oh, it's just so good. It's so good. So then we meet Rip.
We do meet Rip. I
We meet
thought
Rip.
I did not know he came into the episode or into the series so soon.
And in honor of the occasion, I brought a visitor.
It's Rip. It's a baby
It's
Rip.
I found this in the church's Lost and Found right before Jack was born. And I said, does this belong to anybody? And they said, it hasn't been claimed and we're cleaning it out next week. So if it's still here next week, you can have it. I said, score, baby. So I have several pictures of Jack in his little baby Mountie uniform that my best friend gave me with Rip. It's adorable.
That's precious.
Maybe I'll have to put one up on the Insta story.
Yeah.
But yes, we meet Rip, who is now going to be his best friend for the next 4 seasons.
Oh,
I know. Okay, so who is Rip named after, Casey?
Rip Van Winkle.
Rip Van Winkle. And okay, this is just terrible, terrible timing that every time the Reverend comes in, Jack is quote unquote wasting time. He's wasting time with Rip. But Jack is a good Mountie. Mm-hmm. He's a good Mountie and he's doing his job. He just happens to be taking a break every single time the Reverend comes in. And that's got to be frustrating to Jack that, it makes him look lazy.
But for the viewer, it's comic relief because every time that Reverend comes in, it's like, it's that like goofy music, like
yeah, gotta love it. So Jack goes and takes a look around the burn site and he finds
a
can. A remnant of a can, a burned can. And so I've never worked with whale oil before, but
neither have I.
Yeah, I've got to say, if it still smells that bad that Ned is able to recognize it immediately after being burned in a fire and after 2 or 3 months of sitting there, whale oil has to be pretty dang strong.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
Okay, it just dawned on me that the fire was 3 months or 3 months prior.
Yeah.
And that whale oil was still stinky.
Yeah.
But is it because of what we find out about that can of whale oil in episode 4? Because you would think that the whale oil, the scent dissipates over time, you would think.
Right, but remember, Ned sniffs the can and immediately knows it's whale oil.
Right. I'm just curious if in real life, if whale oil smells that bad still after 3 months after being burned in a fire.
No idea.
In episode 4, we find out what the truth is about this whale oil, which makes sense as to why it would still smell.
Yeah.
I got my mystery brain going on here, guys.
Oh boy, here we go. So,
but if anybody knows if whale oil will smell terrible after 3 months, after being burnt, like setting arson to the church or a building of sorts, please let us know. I'm very curious about this because I would think that smell would dissipate.
Yeah, I would think so too. All right, so then we go back to school and Elizabeth is working with Rosaline and she said, "You seem tired. Did you eat your lunch?" "No, well, lunch is very important." And once again,
more foreshadowing.
Huge amount of foreshadowing right there. And this as a mom and as I used to be a teacher, so as a mom and a teacher, this frustrates me so much that Rosaline picked up the crayon and then Wendell Backus came in and scared the living daylights out of her all over again.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that frustrated me so badly. Oh, because she was just about to
I
make a
know.
breakthrough. She was just about to do something. Oh, darn it. So then we skip to Jack coming to see Kat, and I love the real life
I know.
element. I
You
love the real life element.
you and I really could relate to that.
We really can. You have 2 kids, I have 4, and well, Emily might be the same age as Ellie at this point.
Probably.
Yeah, and and then I've got Lydia who's
Mhm.
6, so Emily's probably 5 or 6, and
Yeah.
but then I've got Kira who's around Miles's age, and then I've got 2 younger ones.
Mhm.
So, it just like I'll come back at a more convenient time. With 3 children, there's never a convenient time. Just come in. And I mean, she could have shooed him away with that.
Mhm.
Hello, with 3 children, there's never a convenient time. Goodbye. But she doesn't.
Mhm.
She could have taken that both ways, but she totally invites him in and
Yeah.
just says, "I hope you're fine with talking while I'm working." And isn't that so like a mom?
It is.
You
It
know, like
totally is. I mean, like, you might as well make yourself a home. Do you want some water too? Cups
and
are up here.
and just multitask.
Yeah.
I love to talk while I'm working.
Mhm.
And doing all of this unpacking in the new house, I prefer to get someone on the phone and do the dishes or unpack a box or two while I'm talking to someone. It makes the time pass.
Yeah.
And it makes the time pass a lot more quickly.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And
so
well, this scene also too shows how Jack is also becoming more comfortable in Hope Valley. Because as
Coal
for
Valley.
or Coal Valley, my word, Coal Valley. I forgot. So used to it.
I
Coal
know.
Valley. Jack is he's becoming used to being in Coal Valley because I mean, he's a single guy.
Mhm.
He doesn't have, we don't know if he has siblings. We don't know his family background at this time,
No, we
but
don't.
he's becoming so, for a single guy being a Mountie, being very business-like and must
Yeah.
focus on the business. You would think he'd be like, oh, no, 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 I'm gonna go. Like, you would think he'd feel very uncomfortable intruding on a family and just
Right.
trying to like ask him questions or whatever, but you can see that he's becoming more comfortable, and then you can see everybody else in the community is becoming more comfortable with Jack. And the widows and Jack, they're starting to get some kind of a trust there.
A rapport.
Yeah, they're building a rapport, and
Yeah.
especially with the kids. And we'll see Gabe. That's
Right. Yes.
very.
He interacts with the
Mhm,
children, and he
yeah,
and he straightens out Gabe's salute, which is so
yeah,
adorable. And
and
it's just, yeah, it's
it's like,
it's really becoming comfortable. That's a good
yeah,
point.
and Gabe is like looking up to him like a big brother too,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
that
that's
sense.
really building.
Hmm.
And the other thing is Jack is observing this little family and just how everything's business as usual, even with father gone,
Hmm.
and how she interacts with her children. And he realizes that there is no way that she could have set fire to the church, and he chickens out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he chickens out of asking and asks for a spare coal caddy instead. So, and
Way to keep your cover, Jack. Way to keep your
yeah,
cover.
keep the cover. So then we come to that point that I was talking about earlier. You big city folk rattle a mile a minute. I'm just a country boy who needs to understand this. So so I mean, okay, let me ask you a question, Casey.
Sure.
Did you think that this storyline should have been more serious?
I don't know how much more of my heart could have taken it more seriously.
That's very true, but I don't know. I Because it's Hallmark, they're going to be very, very careful, especially involving a child.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just all the buildup, and the wagon passes and Rosaline is gone, and going and talking to Jack about Rosaline. She's only 8. There's
Mhm.
something wrong with Wendell Bacchus. I just I I didn't want anything to happen to Rosaline, but I thought that maybe Jack would have stopped him from doing something wrong. But at that was something that I thought, well, this isn't that serious. But then I went into it from a little girl's perspective. When you've lost your father, you're afraid to talk, you're carrying that guilt around that you killed him or that you should have died with him. And then very creepy and scary man
who
comes
looks
up,
about 8 feet tall.
yeah, to you, and then he raises a hand to you. That would traumatize a child.
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
so so when I looked at it from an adult perspective, I thought, I think they could have gone somewhere else. But when I look at it from a child's perspective, I thought, okay, yeah. That would be the limit of what she could handle without completely breaking.
Right. Especially with Wendell Backus. I mean, he's grungy and big and tall and just
dresses in black and drives a black wagon. It's very dark.
It's very foreboding.
That's a good word. Very foreboding. But okay, I can't just pass through the scene without mentioning how Elizabeth handles the fist fight.
Oh.
Like, I'm not getting another black eye. I'm not getting another black eye. And she goes in, I mean, it's almost like she's doing this, putting her hand over her face and punching with the other. Oh my goodness. But hey, it worked because she didn't get a shiner.
Right. She learned her lesson.
Oh,
and also the way she handles those kids, because when she sees Wendell drive by, and the kids are like, they're still fighting over whatever it was, and then
the coins. Coins.
She's so focused on the wagon that she just says, "Call heads or tails," and then
call heads or tails.
leaves, and then who knows? They could have just started boxing at each other after that. But it just made me giggle because she was so quick with that. Like, what's the solution? Heads or tails? Let's go.
Exactly.
Like, who would have thought of that?
And then, we find Elizabeth runs to Jack to ask for his help. And this is one point where I really loved Reverend Anderson, because he went there once again to just nag at Jack about his progress. But the minute that Rosaline is missing, Reverend Anderson says, "What can I do?" I said, "Thank you. You're acting like a minister." But I was very proud of him. I was very proud of him right there. And I also love Jack's protectiveness of Rosaline. I mean, he is taking this 100% seriously and just stalking through that house. Forces his way in. Rosaline! You would have thought that it was his little sister. The way he was being with Wendell Backus, you would have thought that was his little sister,
Jack,
or a niece or something.
Jack has so much force in that scene with Wendell. I mean, I was getting scared.
He's got a presence.
Oh my! I would be like, "Yes, sir. Search my house. I'd be okay." Don't hurt me. I mean, I'm not an 8 foot tall drunken man, but still just
a coal miner.
Just the force of Jack. And it also brings a lot of respect for him too, because up until this point, we see a lot of wit with Jack. We see a lot of
sitting on a horse.
Sitting on a horse. We see a lot of psychological smarts, because Jack and Gowan, there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
But we don't see a lot. We haven't seen up until this point any Mountie work being done in the sense of
not really.
Yeah, I mean, we see him
investigating.
But not going all Mountie. And man,
he was a full-blown Mountie.
Yes, He
And
was.
it was probably, this just occurred to me. It's probably something he never thought he'd do.
Mm-hmm.
He never thought he would go full-blown Mountie
Right.
in Coal Valley. And so he's going at it.
Oh, he is.
And especially because there's a child involved.
And when he pins Wendell.
Oh my, your eyes are telling me a different story. It's like, okay. Oh, that
man.
The actor who plays Wendell Backus, the two of them played off each other so well, but I can only imagine what that must have been like for him playing that scene with Daniel Lissing under such intensity.
Right.
Yeah, just man.
Right.
Wow.
But that's kind of the kick in the keister that Wendell needs to quit his drinking.
Yeah.
Because
it's exactly what he needs.
Jack
he's being accused of a very serious crime involving a child.
And Jack is very he's very forceful, not just with his like physical presence, but also with his his mental presence too.
Yes. Because tell me the truth.
And he gets Wendell to shape up.
Yeah,
because
that's exactly what he does.
Wendell, we find out that he feels like he should have died in the mine.
Yeah, he's having a serious case of survivor's guilt because he is sick.
And he and his best friend died in the mine,
taking his place.
Exactly. And so that's why Wendell is a big creepy man, because he's drinking himself to death because he has this PTSD and survivor's guilt that he's going through. And when Jack leaves, because Jack basically tells him, you can do a lot better than just sitting here drinking. And Jack leaves.
It's not too late. It's not too late to do something good with your life. That's what Jack says to him.
And it's a very menacing and almost threatening in the way he says it too.
Yeah.
Jack says it to this big old miner. But here's the thing. Wendell takes that bottle and you think that he's just going to just
drink it away.
And I thought maybe he was going to drink it and just die because he's just under so much of this emotional state of mind. But he breaks down and dumps it out. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
It took an outsider to get to him.
Mm-hmm.
And
he starts crying. He's like, he is a broken man.
He is.
Broken man.
Very broken man. All right, so let's skip to the search. Everybody is out looking for Rosaline. And I don't know about you, but when I was 8 years old, there is no way that I would be gone all day and into the night in a mine.
Oh, no.
I'd be terrified.
I would be scared out of my mind.
But, it just shows that these Coal Valley kids, they know their way around. They know, and she was too ashamed to come home.
Right.
And everything just got to her. Mm-hmm. Everything just got to her. I do love that Elizabeth is the one who finds her, mm-hmm. because once again, it shows her, it shows her usefulness. Mm-hmm. It shows her emotional support, and just that the fact that she's part of this community.
Yeah.
But the fact that she put two and two together, that because Rosaline drew the picture of her standing at the mine, and then she put two and two together to go to the mine, mm-hmm. Is wonderful. And you can tell that Elizabeth is terrified out of her mind because she doesn't know where she's going.
Right. Right.
And okay, she carried her back.
Yes.
I mean, Elizabeth's made of some pretty stern stuff that she can carry an 8-year-old girl back to where everybody is in the field.
Right. But before we get to the beautiful reunion, can we talk about, once again, Joannah Newmarch's performance in this? Because so it's nighttime, and Kat and the other widows and other women are telling Molly, hey,
to rest.
We need your strength. We need to rest. And she's like, I am not going to rest until my daughter is back in my arms. And she starts like calling after her and using these pet names too. And you're just like, oh.
I mean, as a mom, would you get any sleep if
Oh
if
no.
Abby disappeared?
Yeah, no, absolutely
No.
not. I mean,
No.
no,
I would not be sleeping at all,
no.
if any of my kids disappeared.
Right. It's
So,
just, oh, and when she calls out, she's like, Rosalie, my darling. And I'm like,
oh,
oh my goodness, Rosalie, come back.
oh
It's
my
so
goodness.
heartbreaking. And she's and her hands are just shaking too with the
Yeah, her
lantern. And
hands.
you can tell that she is so distraught and just, I don't know what the other words are for this, but
Well,
it's
I mean,
just,
desperate comes back to mind, but
yeah.
just distraught is an excellent word.
But and the
It's
performance is just fantastic.
it is. You believe every ounce of it.
Hmm.
There's nothing lacking. Nothing
No.
lacking. And then so we have the beautiful reunion. 3 I love yous.
Mm.
3 I love yous, which is so important for Rosaline to hear right now,
Hmm.
because she didn't take her daddy his lunch.
Yes. And she feels that she's the reason, or that she should have died with her daddy in that mine. Like, and there's this like there's also some other things we don't know in with Rosaline and her dad, in the sense of like, did he go to the mine before she woke up every morning? Or, and maybe that was their time. Maybe it was a special time for them to have lunch together, so she didn't have to wait till, you know, dinner time to see her dad. And we don't know that. Maybe she get a good night's kiss, from the night before. We don't know a lot of those
Do
things.
they go to a special place to eat?
Mm-hmm.
So if she had brought him his lunch, they would have been away from the mine.
Right.
I just thought of that.
Mm-hmm.
Do they go to a special place that's just for them, so he wouldn't have gotten killed if she
Right.
had taken his lunch?
Mm-hmm.
It just, and what will mommy say when she finds out I didn't bring him his lunch? And Elizabeth says she loves you more than life itself. So for Molly to say
Mm-hmm.
immediately 3 I love yous,
Mm-hmm.
it's exactly what Rosalie needed to
Mm-hmm.
hear. And it's what she needed to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It, oh, it, and then while we have the 2 beautiful redheads hugging it out and kissing it out, we have the eye connection. And
Oh,
the
yes.
first very brilliant smile that he has given since the show started.
Mm-hmm.
He has not smiled fully up to this point.
Yeah.
And he's smirked, he's grinned. There was the time when his eyes shined, but it never got to a full smile, and he has a full-on broad smile, and that makes Elizabeth smile,
Mm-hmm.
because she has done what she needed to do. And then icing on the cake, the cute Mountie in town is smiling at her.
Yes.
Telling her good job.
Yes. And that smile is just such a smile that Jack has, is a smile of pride and just this, I knew your big city brains can do it, and Elizabeth has now, I mean, slowly, Elizabeth has proven herself to Jack that she is going to embody all of Coal Valley, and she is not going to be run out of town by anybody, and not even like, she is Thatcher.
Yeah, she is a Thatcher.
And I just love that this is the moment where she gains the respect from Jack. He no longer really sees her as this, like,
he's not just
prissy
impressed by an
princess.
act. Yes,
Right.
he's not just impressed by an act. She has gained his respect.
Mm-hmm.
That is an excellent way of putting it, because it's not just, it's the whole person now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And let's get into that conversation right now. So, do you notice the incredibly different attitude that Jack comes down the stairs? from
He does.
episode 2 to episode 3. In episode 2, it's stomping down, I'm better than you, and I knew you couldn't do it.
Yeah, he's totally got his nose up on her. He's like,
I know. And then this time he comes down the stairs and he almost bounces. He bounces down the stairs and he's smiling and he's just, it's a very different attitude.
It does. Yeah, he's much more friendly now.
Yeah, he's
like I had true friendship, not just hey, we live together, we're the only ones that are about 25.
Right.
It's a true friendship that's starting to build now. Because they have that mutual respect now. And even with Elizabeth, when he does grin at her, she's smiling at him, and it's not about her in this moment, at that moment either. She doesn't have any pride. And even when he walks down the steps, again, it's that friendship that's building and coming out. And it's not a, hey, see, I told you I could do it.
Yeah. No, she's just smiling.
Mutual friends, yeah.
Yeah. And he says, and he goes into that, I owe you an apology for jumping to conclusions about your character. But last night, once again, you proved me erro. And then he calls her Bella. Oh man, I remember the first time I was watching that, I was like
the first time I was watching that, I was like, oh, he just went there.
I was blasted back. It was as if it was a loud sound. I'm bracing myself with my hands on the couch. I'm like, oh my gosh, where's this going? And then of course we get the comic relief and the break of the moment of Parcheshi, which means wake up. And James is snoring.
Of course.
I have to tell you, I wrote a Christmas fan fiction. It was one of the first ones that I did. And it's on my blog, hookedhearty.com, if you want to know. But it was when Jack returns, and he finds her asleep on Abigail's couch, and he said, "Parcheshi, Bella." and that's how he wakes her up. So yeah,
that's so sweet.
I love listening to him speak the Latin because it reminds me of the story.
Yeah.
Okay, and now we come to the gripping end. First of all, Reverend Anderson has decided that he will no longer be affiliated with the company, which is huge.
It is huge.
Because once again, it's his livelihood. And so now how is he going to make money?
Right. And this is where Gowan says, I don't speak Bible.
Yeah, I don't speak Bible. I'm like, well,
then why are you sponsoring a church?
Oh no.
Oh. And just the fact that Gowan does not get it. He doesn't care. He doesn't care, and he doesn't
care at all.
He doesn't get it. He doesn't get the point of a ministry, a church, because for him it's money. He's and he has somehow
all about the bottom line.
And exactly, and he has somehow convinced Reverend Anderson. Like now, looking back and seeing this relationship between Anderson and Gowan and the church, he has somehow convinced Anderson that it's all about the money. If you really think about it, because why else would Anderson not comfort the widows? A normal, everyday minister, reverend would.
He's going through the motions.
He's just going through the motions at this point. And to him, church, being a pastor is just a paycheck to him right now.
Yep.
And it's not until this whole fiasco with Rosaline and just different things going on that it opens Reverend Anderson's mind up to, no, this is about the people. Where have I been? And I have been under the thumb of Gowan and his minions in the company. And
I accused a widow of burning down my church.
I mean, he has gone so far down. And so when he finally wakes up and he realizes how wrong he was, and he gets out of he gets out from under Gowan's thumb.
Yeah.
And Gowan's like, well, basically telling him, well, what are you going to do? Because you ain't going to get a paycheck. And how are you going to survive? And I love this line that Reverend Anderson says. He says, where God guides, God provides.
I wrote that down too.
I'm like, amen, brother. But it's so true, because, you know, a lot of the ministry is not, when you're in the ministry, you are reliant on God to provide for your needs, because in a lot of different churches, it's the congregation that supports the pastor,
takes care of the pastor.
They take care of them, and they make sure that it's not on the people to make sure that the pastor's needs are provided, but God uses those people to make sure that the pastors are provided for.
Exactly.
My husband is a PK. If you don't speak religion, pastor's kid. But he's told me so many times, where sometimes they didn't have much, or his parents didn't have much, and they sacrificed, but he always tells me, he's going to provide. He always does, and he always has, and he always will. And he has seen it time and time again, just from, living in a ministry pastor kid life,
Yep.
So I just love that line. And I love the fact that he realizes that moment, you know what, I don't need this company to support me. Right. And the church, Gowan is so fixated on a building. He's so fixating on the church being a building, when in fact, the church is actually the people. So it doesn't matter what building, or if there is a building or whatever, the church will always be the people. It's not a building. And we've realized, and Anderson realizes that too, because he also says, you know what?
He was really focused on it being a building.
Yes, exactly. And this is that turning point when he realizes, nope, it's not about the building. It's not about the money. It's about the people and their hearts.
And just when we think everything is resolved, Jack brings the coal caddy back.
Oh,
yeah. And he sees the candles everywhere. And in that shed with all the candles, he sees the exact same kind of can as was at the burn site. What a way to end the episode. Oh my gosh. Man. I still remember watching this episode for the first time. It was late at night, and I said, I was pregnant, but I was having insomnia. I said, there is no way that I'm going to sleep. Yeah, next episode.
I think my exact reaction was, wait, what? And then the remote goes, and I didn't even wait for Netflix to pop up. Yeah. Start watching. I'm like, yep, start watching.
Oh man. Your heart just goes. Your heart breaks for that woman who is humming and doing her gardening, mm-hmm. and there is you're in shock right along with Jack.
Right.
And that brings us to the end, and we will talk about episode 4 next time. But first, the trivia.
Oh, trivia. Cammy's trivia always scares me, guys.
Be prepared. All right. What is the name of the whale oil brand?
I don't remember.
Nordics
Best.
Nordics Best. Yep. Okay. What is the translation of ut ora fugit vita? What is the translation?
Okay. Ut ora, hour.
Uh-huh.
Vita, life.
Yes.
What was the other word?
Fugit.
Oh.
Ut ora fugit vita.
Oh, stink. What?
You're
I know.
getting it.
I know. I took Latin in college.
Oh, wow. I did.
I took it for a year. Oh, yeah.
I recognize
2
words because of
semesters.
I recognize Latin because of my Spanish.
Yeah, I took Spanish in college too.
Yeah.
But I don't remember.
As an hour, life
As an hour, life flies. Yes.
As an hour, life flies. Okay, what did Elizabeth call a fight?
I don't remember.
Fisticuffs.
Oh, fisticuffs.
There will be no fisticuffs on my watch.
That's right.
And I know you know this one.
Oh, I hope I do.
To what prison did Jack threaten to send Wendell Backus?
Oh, Medicine Hat.
Yay! She got one.
I got 1.5. 1.5 out of 4. That is not very good.
All right, Hearties. We love you. Thank you so much for everything that you do for us. Thanks for tuning in. And we will see you on social media. And we'll see you next week. Bye. Thanks so much for joining us on Hearties Hotline. For more juicy details and to see what's coming up, be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Hearties Hotline. And we drop an episode every Wednesday, so we'll see you then. Until next time.